Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm your host, Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Now, on the Big Ten on Saturday, there's an old-fashioned rivalry, the Floyd of Rosedale game, between the Iowa Hawkeyes traveling on the road to the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Who do I think is going to win this game? Let's break it down. Now, Iowa is 6-4 and 4-3 in the Big Ten to start this season, and Kirk Ferentz is the longest tenured head coach in college football, and he's done a really good job at Iowa through the years. And this year they're having a pretty decent season. They beat South Dakota State 7-3 in Week 1. Their offense couldn't get anything going in this game. It was 2 safeties and a field goal, but they got the win. Then they lost to the rivals Iowa State at home 10-7. That was a tough loss because, again, it was at home, and they haven't lost to the rivals in many years, but they couldn't get it done. Then they beat Nevada 27-0, and then they won at Rutgers 27-10, so good wins there. Then they lost to Michigan 27-14, tough loss. It was at home, but they couldn't get it done. Then they lost at Illinois 9-6 in a game where there was no offense and it was all defense. Then they lost at Ohio State 54-10. They could not stop the Buckeyes at the shoe, and then they beat Northwestern 33-13. Then they won at Purdue 24-3, and then they beat Wisconsin 24-10. So Iowa's won 3 in a row, and they're starting to play better football as the season has progressed, and their offense has been improving a little bit, but they need to definitely improve on offense because we know Iowa's defense is fantastic. Quarterback Spencer Petras, 92 yards against Wisconsin through the air, and again, Spencer Petras needs to have more passing yards in games. 92 yards not going to get it done. He did have a rushing touchdown, but that's not his game either. Spencer Petras definitely needs to improve on offense, and Brian Ferentz needs to improve as an offensive coordinator on calling plays for Iowa if they're going to be able to be a much better offensive team. Running back Caleb Johnson, 57 yards and a touchdown. He's a really good running back. And tight end Sam Laporta had 48 yards for Iowa against Wisconsin. He's probably an NFL tight end. He's a fantastic player. And on the defensive side of the ball, cornerback Cooper DeJean had 7 tackles and interception. And linebacker Jack Campbell had 6 tackles for Iowa against Wisconsin. Jack Campbell is a fantastic linebacker, and he will probably be in the NFL as well. And again, we know Iowa has a great defense, but it's just going to come down to their offense. If their offense can improve, then Iowa could be a much better football team in the Big Ten. Now, on the Minnesota side, they're 7-3 and 4-3 in the Big Ten to start the season. And PJ Fleck has done a good job as the Minnesota head coach. He has definitely turned Minnesota around and made them a better program than before he was there. And this year, they're having a really good season. They beat New Mexico State 38-0 in Week 1. That was a good win. Then they won against Western Illinois 62-10. And then they beat Colorado 49-7. And Colorado's really struggling, so that was a good win. Then they won at Michigan State 34-7. That was a good win because Michigan State's really struggling. Then they lost to Purdue 20-10. Tough loss. Mo Ibrahim was out hurt in the Purdue game, and it was a tough loss. And then they lost at Illinois 26-14, and Illinois is having a much better season, but still tough loss there. Then they lost at Penn State 45-17, and Penn State's a really talented team. It's hard to win at Happy Valley, so not a bad loss there. But Minnesota's won 3 in a row, and they beat Rutgers 31-0, and then they won at Nebraska 20-13, and then they beat Northwestern 31-3. So Minnesota, like Iowa, has won 3 in a row, and they're playing better football right now. Quarterback Athan Kalakmis had 64 yards against Northwestern. He did not throw for many yards in this game. Tanner Morgan's been banged up and out of the lineup. But I think Athan Kalakmis is a decent quarterback, but he definitely needs to improve on his completion percentage. And like Spencer Petras for Iowa, he needs to throw for more yards in games than 64. Running back Mo Ibrahim at 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's a stud. When healthy, he is one of the best running backs in the nation. But he has been hampered by injuries lately, but he will be in the NFL if he can stay healthy. And running back Trey Potts at 63 yards for Minnesota against Northwestern. He's a really good complimentary back to Mo Ibrahim. And on the defensive side of the ball, defensive back Tyler Nubin at 5 tackles and an interception, and linebacker Cody Lindenberg at 3 tackles for Minnesota against Northwestern. And Minnesota's defense is solid. Maybe not as good as Iowa's defense, but Minnesota has a really good defense, and their offense needs to improve in passing just like Iowa. But having Mo Ibrahim at tailback really helps Minnesota's offense out a lot. So who do I think is going to win this rivalry game? Minnesota is at home, and this really helps Minnesota out because Minnesota is a much better team at home like most teams are. But Iowa has won 7 games in a row in this rivalry, and Iowa has a lot of momentum. They're playing much better football right now, but so is Minnesota. Both teams are solid. Both teams are really good on defense. Both teams' offenses do struggle, especially in the passing game. But I'm going to go with Minnesota to beat Iowa in the Floyd of Rosedale 21-17. I think Iowa can win this game. I think Iowa has a lot of momentum in this rivalry game, and they could win 8 in a row. They could easily win this game. Their offense has been playing much better compared to what it was at the beginning of the season. It's not obviously a really good offense, but they have improved. And Minnesota has improved as well. But I think Minnesota's going to find a way to win this game. I think Minnesota's going to play a little bit better on offense and defense. I feel PJ Fleck's got his team playing really good football. And Kirk Ferentz has his team playing better football as well. And I think they are going to put up a fight in this game. And both teams have a lot to play for, because if both teams can win out, they can win the Big Ten West still. And I think this game could go either way. But Mo Ibrahim might be the difference in this game. He might be able to run just enough over Iowa's defense. And I got Minnesota beating Iowa 21-17. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below whether you think Iowa or Minnesota is going to win this game and why. And I will see you next time.